Not the beast! I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire!
Put the bunny back in the box.
I watch Nick Cage. I fucking his way right off the page. Man, he's a terrible actor, and I hate the way this made me feel. What's his appeal? Are we having fun yet? Watching this castle period film? Oh, look, this asshole raw on pills. We know he's not done yet, paying off his castles with this film. Welcome, everybody, to We Gauge Cage, the podcast where we watch all of Nicolas Cage's films in an effort to gauge whether or not he is actually a good actor. Because truthfully, we do not know. We are not familiar enough with the entire body of his work.
We're familiar enough with his body, though, at this point.
Yeah, we are. My name is Brock Kircher, and with me, as always, is the Chris Collinsworth to the John Madden, Brian Ambrosius.
I was like, I've never played a Chris Collinsworth game before.
And this week...
But Madden.
Yes, this is Brian Ambrosius, everybody. And this week, Brian and I watched Nicolas Cage's 2016 film, USS Indianapolis, Men of Courage.
We sure did, Brock. I can't wait to talk about this one.
This one put the I need a nap in Indianapolis.
Hey!
No.
Right off the top, want to apologize if like you hear a lot of mouth breathing on my end. It's allergy season.
Oh, is it? Oh, you wanted to get
and
that?
As I've gotten older, my allergies keep
right
getting
off
worse.
the top, huh?
I do because I'm breathing. Like the mic is right here. I can't hear it. I got headphones on. I know my nose is stuffed. You might hear a lot of sniffles too. It's allergy season. Come at me.
They're gonna come at you. I'm also gonna apologize right away, folks. You see, for the overzealous fans in the group. Apparently what I've gotten in terms of feedback is that not everybody's, or at least they're on the fence when it comes to wet mouth sounds. And
no one's on the fence
eating
about
on mic. So
nobody. What podcast have you ever listened to besides ours where you've heard someone eating on mic?
None.
Exactly.
That's what makes us special. That's what makes us the best, baby.
I mean, it's one thing when it's a game, but for you to bring in a whole fucking steak, like, come on.
Oh, it was such a good meal, though.
No, all I've gotten is terrible feedback on that.
We are overcorrecting, and I don't have any foodstuffs in front of me right now. So I will not be consuming any food on this episode of the podcast. Just like we had a clean app with no cursing back, way back in episode 3, Wicker Man. This is going to be a clean app in terms of putting things into my mouth.
Yes. That's good. I appreciate that.
We try.
I get so mad when you chew on mic.
It's for the people. It's for the one people in particular. And you know who you are.
Tokyo.
Yeah, Tokyo.
Hey, Rock, how was your weekend? You had quite the eventful weekend.
I had quite a week, man. So I just got back.
Snapchat knows.
From the motherland, the home country. I was in Wisconsin this last week.
Did you get allergies?
The land of milk and honeys? No, allergies only affect you. Only you walk around and you love to stuff Kleenex up your nose. Like
I do.
Like this is a normal thing, and you're just like, that doesn't mean this is my life now.
I did it on our drive to my mom's house this weekend, and Leah was laughing at me. I was like, hey, man, it's better than running down my face.
Is it? I don't think it is. You could just be like a normal person who blows their nose at regular intervals, but instead you walk around. People, ladies and gentlemen, he'll take a picture, I'm sure, because he loves to do this and brag about it. About how
It's
he'll
already on
live his
Facebook.
life with like just wads of Kleenex shoved up into his nose. The Ben Worcester special.
It's not the same snot as like a normal snot. This is a snot that is just runny, and you blow your nose, and nothing changes.
God, I didn't want to get into it, but we have gotten into it officially. Anyway, more about me. So I spent the week in Madison. It's a beautiful city. So if anybody can get back there or visit, I highly recommend it. Shout outs to JL3 Sport, if you're listening. Shout outs to the good Corey and the bad Corey, both of who I got to see.
I don't know which one's which.
Nah, they know. And I got to see some family. It was a good little week. For
Nice.
Brocadiah.
We went to on a dog walk. The Humane Society throws a dog walk. And I bet there was 1,000 dogs there, and
Did you come away with a new dog? Did you get a new dog? No.
Everybody loved Finn. Nobody loved Ranger.
Why?
They were all just like, "Oh, can we pet your puppy? Oh, what a cute
'cause he's
puppy!"
a hot
And then
newness.
poor Ranger's just sitting there, not getting any love.
No new friends. No new.
Yeah, and then we drove in. We celebrated Mother's Day with my mom because I work on Mother's Day at the restaurant.
Cheers.
Yeah,
So
that was my weekend.
Was completely unaware of when Mother's Day actually was. So I bought a whole bunch of gifts, and everybody was looking at me funny, and I didn't realize that I was a week early. So
Well, you can buy gifts a week early. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well,
You should be buying gifts early. You don't want to buy gifts on the day.
True. It was also Cinco de Mayo. Did you have a wonderful Cinco de Mayo? We're so holiday positive on this podcast.
Did not care.
Nope.
Brock, I only care about like 3 holidays.
My birthday,
Christmas.
my bris, and my confirmation.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July. That's it. That's all I need.
Nah, I'm a Halloween motherfucker myself. We established during one of our previous podcasts that I am partial to Halloween. Speaking of Halloween, Madison Halloween, one of the greatest holidays there is.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Right
if you
up
can
there
get
with
back
Mifflin.
if you can get back to Madison for Halloween, that's one that I highly recommend as well.
So I did want to bring up one thing. You mentioned last episode that we should punch Connor in his shorts. Do you remember that?
I believe I said that I would punch his shorts. No, I would punch his jeans off of him so that he would be wearing shorts, something like that.
Yeah. I got a cool story about Connor in like shorts and pants and whatnot. So you know how the dress codes at most businesses is like women can wear like skirts to their knees or like capris and they can wear short sleeve shirts, but it can't be like a spaghetti strap. Like they get to really take off a lot of clothes, which is why the women are always cold in the office and the men are always hot because we gotta wear freaking suits and ties. Well, that's the same thing at Fairview, that where he works with Leah. And to kind of get around the dress code, one time Connor came wearing a kilt. And they couldn't do anything about it because it says nothing in the rule book about wearing a kilt.
I was going to say that Connor was a kilt guy. I was gonna spoil this story right from the jump.
Were you really?
Yes, I was.
Well, he does look like Irish or something.
Yeah.
I feel like he could be in. Well,
So I'm sure he'll appreciate my Ed Sheeran song at the top.
Oh, I hate Ed Sheeran.
Oh, we need to talk about Ed Sheeran.
Why?
Because Brian, when Ed Sheeran was still like maybe 2 or 3 hits into his illustrious career, of which he's now like,
speaking
5
of
to 6
like
hits in.
Race, I guess.
Yeah.
And nationality.
So Brian, what was his big hit? It was the one that like played at every single wedding back in.
No, don't fuck with my heart.
It wasn't.
That girl is so cold, and although she knows, I don't want to know that, babe. No.
Sure, it was around that time, but it was a song before Perfect. It was 3-4 years ago, something like that. Anyway, about 3 years ago, Brian was like, Ed Sheeran, and anybody who knows Ed Sheeran knows that he is like the gingeriest ginger of all the gingers.
He is the whitest of the white.
He is the whitest man alive.
Yes.
Brian heard Ed Sheeran and mistook him for a black man. Brian thought that Ed Sheeran was African American for the longest
His music
time.
is kind of. It's kind of like got that kind of like
R&B,
well, not R&B,
kinda.
yeah,
Okay,
R&B, I guess.
I forgive you. But when did you how long into it did you actually find out what Ed Sheeran looked like?
I don't know.
Ugh.
I honestly
Anyway,
don't know. But I've also had it happen where it's like I can't tell if it's like a black woman singing or like just a really high pitched man. Like sometimes I feel like that's happened with someone. I don't remember what that one happened with, but who cares?
On the intro of this podcast.
Yep. You get an image of these people in your head, and then when you see what they look like, you're just like, wait, what? That's what that person looks like?
What? Ed Sheeran or Jason Derulo? I can't tell.
Like Adele, I'm pretty sure the first time I saw Adele, I was like, oh, that's Adele?
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. Anyway, so I just thought it was funny that you thought Ed Sheeran was a black man.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I'm not the only one. Actually, I think even Leah thought that he was black too, so.
Great
we
minds
are
think alike.
With the USS Indianapolis Men of Courage, we have now watched another 10 of the worst movies, not including Mom and Dad, which was up the list. We just watched it. And last time we watched 10 of his worst movies, we wanted to reorder the list kind of
we did.
What we felt like the order should be, and we are going to do that again.
So let's reorder these last 10 movies, ladies and gentlemen.
Again, do you want to start bottom going up? I think so, right? Because we watch them bottom going up.
Yeah.
So number 11 would have been Looking Glass originally. What's your bottom movie?
Vengeance, a Love Story.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely. Bury that shit.
Very, very obvious that was going to be it.
And we're not going top 20, but that motherfucker would have, like I said, would have been in a dogfight with Dog Eat Dog. It would have been number 1.5 with a bullet.
Will, you said at the end you want to reorder all the movies, so we'll see at the end where you put it. The next lowest would have been Firebirds. That's the one that we watched next, so that would be number 12 overall. My second least favorite is The Runner.
Really?
I hated that movie. It was stupid.
Time to Kill.
Okay.
Time to Kill.
Well,
waste of time to kill.
Just to spoil it here, the third one from our list was The Runner minus Time to Kill.
Minus Firebirds. Again, just boring. There's Time to Kill.
It was
and
a boring
Firebirds
movie.
are both just boring, just wastes of 2 hours. Or an hour and a half, whatever they were.
The fourth worst on our list was Rage. What's yours?
Looking Glass. Fuck that movie.
You are gonna hate where I have Looking Glass. My
sure
fourth worst.
But it was a fine movie. He lost his son. He lost his daughter. He was alcoholic. He would give him the benefit of the doubt. It was a good movie. He was a pervert. He was a creep.
My fourth worst is G-Force.
What?
Fuck that movie. I hated G-Force. I really, really hated G-Force.
Wow.
And I like kids' movies.
Wow.
I've shown you that that I like kids' movies. I hated G-Force. That movie sucked. Fifth worst, according to our list.
I don't know if we're going to have any of the same except for Vengeance.
Fifth worst, according to our original list, was Army of One. Here's where I have Firebirds.
Here's where I have The Runner. I mean, I thought The Runner was harmless compared to the other ones.
The Runner was so bad.
Why? It was just a political duller. He ran. He ran a little bit.
Sixth worst is G-Force, according to our original list. Here is where I have 2, 4, 6. Pay the Ghost.
I have Rage.
Okay, so we're really close on that one too, because then seventh worst, according to our list, 2, 4, 6, 7, is Time to Kill. Wait, that was what I just said. Pay the Ghost. What the fuck? 2, 4, 6. Oh, Time to Kill. And I put Rage there.
That's where I put Pay the Ghost. So we just flip-flopped.
Okay, so we swapped Rage and okay.
I kind of waffled back and forth with those, but Pay the Ghost was it was effective for the most part. It just really fell apart at the end and was super exposition.
One thing I'll point out, we still haven't, neither of us have gotten to USS Indianapolis, the most recent movie we've watched. Yeah. So So the third, okay, now I'm just going to say third best because it's getting too hard to go from the bomb. So top 3 in our original list, Pay the Ghost. That's where I put USS Indianapolis, Men of Courage.
That's where I put USS Indianapolis, Men of Courage.
Hey! Which, you're going to hate this one.
Yeah,
so
no, fuck you.
Our second best, according to our original 10, is Vengeance, A Love Story, which is crazy that it is. That's his 19th best film according to IMDb, or 19th worst. But my second best is Looking Glass.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
I don't see anything wrong. The more I think about Looking Glass, I'm just like, you know what? I think I actually kind of enjoyed
Every
that movie.
other actor was so bad in that movie. Everything was bad in that movie. Nothing was good in that movie.
When I think back to Looking Glass, I'm just like, you know what? I did not hate that movie.
You know what? He was in a hotel. He was perving out. Just fucking perving and standing in parking lots and perving.
He was an alcoholic.
Perving.
His daughter just died.
And perving. And
all right, what's your second best?
Perving. You're just a perv. Army of One.
Oh, so that is, obviously that's the only one left. Obviously our number 1, according to our original list, is the USS Indianapolis. That's what we just watched. My number 1 is Army of One.
My number 1 is G-Force.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Why? How?
Because G-Force was entertaining. It was worth my time. It was worth the watch.
No.
Yeah.
No, what was enjoyable about G-Force?
G-Force, it had action, it had excitement, it had Sam Rockwell, it had Tracy Morgan got you pregnant. It had everything I wanted. It was
so wrong.
Because G-Force was exactly the movie I expected, and it just delivered. And it even went above what I expected, because, like, who knew that twist? Well, I saw the twist coming, but I didn't know up front that the movie was going to have a twist like that. And I didn't know that Nick Cage was going to play a star-nosed mole, and Nick Cage delivered. It's his best-rated movie, according to us, that he did the best performance in.
Doesn't matter. This was like our movies. This is not like our Nick Cage performances.
Yeah. And I think that Nick Cage delivered, so it elevated the movie.
Oh, God, G-Force was so bad. I hated it. I really like Army of One, though. Like I said before, the first 45, 50 minutes, very, very enjoyable. The last half sucked, but
it's not
good enough to get number 1 on our last 10 lists.
Not
our
enough
last 10
to
movies.
be G-Force for me.
Uh-oh, Brock, you know what I just realized?
What?
I don't have a What Did You Learn?
Oh, well, I do.
Do you have one?
I have 3 of them.
You have 3 of them?
I have 3 of them. You want me to, like, text you one? Here, I'll text you one so that it can seem
No.
natural.
I think I got one.
I'll text you one. I'll text you a good one.
Oh, God, this is hard. Oh.
I got you.
Why don't you just say them then? If you got 3 of them.
Nope.
Or we'll just sit here in silence. This is good podcasting.
Okay, well, you could tee up the freaking movie. I mean, do I got to do everything here? Okay, so
yes.
This week, folks, number 3 on our list, number 3 in our hearts of the last 10 movies that we watched, USS Indianapolis, 2016.
Men of Courage.
A 2016 film about, believe it or not, the USS Indianapolis. So
based on a true story.
And
this time it made it obvious that it was based off a true story because it said based off a true story. Unlike Army of One that was like, well, it's kind of based off a true story. Well, the details are, well, you might have heard the story. No, this one says based off a true story.
I kind of feel like Pay the Ghost is based off a true story too, right?
No, not Pay the Ghost.
Darn. So this story is about the mission of the USS Indianapolis that delivered the nuclear warheads from America to a base in the Philippines, was sunk, and that's pretty much it.
Did you? So it's obviously the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs, the bombs that ended World War II.
Nagasaki.
The A bombs.
Nagasaki.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you know about the USS Indianapolis prior to this movie?
Not at all.
See, I thought that the bombs came straight from Pearl Harbor to Japan. I didn't realize a ship had to get them
on
closer.
The Enola Gay and the Big Boy or whatever. Yeah.
Yes. So I didn't realize that a ship had to bring them to the Philippines so that would be a shorter distance. So
nor did
news
I.
To me.
Exactly. And I don't and you find out in this movie that there's a reason that nobody had really heard about this up until very recently. And it's because they buried this whole story because of what a disaster it was.
I would love to see this made with a big budget and a good director. I think this could be a really good movie because there's a lot of depth to this story.
Yeah.
But as we'll find out,
there were some choices made.
There were
That's
some,
for sure.
yeah. I didn't know if this should have been wide release or been on Sci-Fi. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So this was directed by Mario Van Peebles, who has...
Oh, good. Everyone knows him.
No, you don't. But the thing is, he's like a blaxploitation director who does a lot of African American kind of blaxploitation movies, like Badass, and a bunch of movies back in the 80s, 90s that had kind of a racial tinge to them. So the fact that he did this movie was just kind of an odd choice, I think.
Well,
he hasn't done a lot of great movies lately. Let's just say that.
I read the trivia and goofs of the USS Indianapolis, and it had some points that black people and white people were segregated in the Army and Navy and shit until 1947. So the way that they are coexisting in this movie is not accurate. So maybe he's trying to make a point there.
Apparently there are a ton of inaccuracies in this movie.
Yeah.
Which, if you read the reviews, some dude's like, they didn't have this, they didn't have that. I was really turned off by the fact that they used the wrong kind of shark. And it's buddy, calm down. All right, so let's launch into it, shall we?
What did you learn from Nicolas Cage?
Oh, yes. This week, I learned. Do you want to start first, actually?
No, I want you to go first in case I find something that I like.
All right. Well, our guns are useless against submarines. Many of the crew are mere boys with no idea of the dangers we face here at sea. If we are fired upon... Oh boy. And if, miraculously, we spot it early enough, we have at maximum 4 minutes before the torpedo arrives. Our main defense is to get the ship watertight, point station Zebra, so any hull rupture doesn't spread and sink us.
That's what you learned?
That is what I learned.
Did you learn?
Exactly.
What did you learn?
Exactly.
What did you learn then?
I learned that if fired upon by an enemy sub, and if, miraculously, we spot it early enough, we have at maximum 4 minutes before the torpedo... I can't say torpedo. Before the torpedo arrives. And their main defense is to get the ship watertight, point station Zebra, so any hull rupture doesn't spread and sink us.
By the way, when the...
Clearly!
Spoiler alert, they do get shot. I feel like that's not a big spoiler because they're by sharks, so they sink.
This is history.
They do not have... They do not have 4 minutes.
Mystery. I know a certain podcast guest who would have loved this film.
But Brock, they don't have 4 minutes. I don't understand. When he said the 4 minutes, I was like, okay, whatever, 4 minutes.
No.
But then when the time comes, they don't have 4 minutes.
No, it's if they know the torpedo is coming, they have at maximum 4 minutes before it arrives in order to get the ship watertight. Point station Zebra. Which we all know means where they think it's going to hit.
I have a new, what did I learn? I'm not going to use yours.
Fine.
What I learned is that when you're stranded on the ocean and you need to get from point A to point B, it doesn't matter how little that paddle is. Baby boy, you will get there.
You'll get there.
That's what I learned.
You'll get there in a mere, star wipe across the screen.
Yeah, exactly. Almost like the more you know.
From a transition. Yeah.
No, Brock, I put it in there. It's in there. You don't need to do it every time.
Oh, I'm going to do it all day.
All right. So based on
Okinawa.
true story.
March
Okinawa. That's what it says.
1945.
Hey, what's in Okinawa, Brock?
Well, my old house was in Okinawa.
Yeah, it was. That's where you grew up.
The place of my birth was in Okinawa.
How fun that your birthplace got called out here.
Yes. So,
Wouldn't it be crazy if Rhinelander got called out? That's where I
ladies
was
and
born.
gentlemen of the podcast, and especially you, Tokyo,
Tokyo, listen to us.
I was born in Okinawa, Japan, on a Kadena Air Force Base. Where my dad served in the Air Force for quite some time. I don't know.
Speaking
I don't know
of
exact metrics on that.
Speaking of Air Force, my very first note says based on true story Okinawa, and then it says that CGI dough. And I remember why. It's because there's all these planes like coming through, and there's like a ship, and it just looks really, really bad. Like I said, I didn't know if it should be on sci-fi.
Yeah.
And I'm going to point out all the times that I said that CGI dough because it's a lot.
Yeah.
But we get our first Nictro.
So Nictro is him yelling, "Fire!" and like basically
11
calling out
o'clock!
coordinates and then yelling fire.
Fire, fire, 11 o'clock.
And the thing that I learned also from ships is that everybody just like repeats like
Everything.
everybody just does like a fire brigade like yelling down the line. So like if he yells fire, some other guy yells fire, and then some other guy yells fire 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
Even on the Japanese sub, they do it.
Yep. That's just how ships work, baby.
They need to drop the bomb.
so-
They don't get a fleet. Only one ship. They can't fly the bomb.
Well, so Nick,
Man,
Nick's
this movie jumps right in, doesn't
Nick's
it?
USS Indianapolis ship is in battle, and he has a kamikaze plane fly into it, so they got to get like back to station or whatever, and that's pretty much it. That's that first opening scene. Okay, so you see that Nick is like the captain. Then jump cut to a war council, which explains that flying. And they're sailing one ship to the Philippine Sea because they can't send a fleet because it'll attract too much attention. But if they send one ship that's fast enough, they can deliver this bomb and maybe get out, maybe get back, maybe not. Who cares?
They basically say it's a suicide
It is
mission.
a suicide mission. But if it works, the men on that boat are heroes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wonder who's going to be on that boat.
Well,
You know who's going to be on that boat, Brock? Paul Walker's brother is going to be on that boat.
yeah, he is.
How about that?
Yeah, Casey Walker or whatever his name. I don't know.
Also,
his name.
Adam Scott is on that boat.
What?
There was an actor named like Adam Scott Collins or something in this movie.
It's not Adam Cordero. Shout out Adam Cordero.
Who's Adam Cordero?
Adam Cordero.
Oh, Adam Cordero. Yes.
Cordero. Sorry.
Yes,
Actor Adam Scott, who nobody knows, wanted to call his name Adam Cordero instead of Adam Scott.
Good acting name. Nick Cage, immediately, he's knocking out tropes left and right out the start here because now he starts mumbling to a picture of his wife. And did you write any of it down?
Always
He's
doing
"My
like a
dear
video
Louise."
blog before he like writes, but he's like basically like reciting poetry and shit and like talking about the kamikaze plane, and he's speaking beautiful words, and then he's like, no, that won't work, and then he goes down to scribble a letter and writes for like 2 seconds, and I'm like, there's no gosh darn way that you got any of that written down before he goes like, hey, send this letter off. Anyway, but we do
Give
find
this
out
to
that
the
it's
Pony
his,
Express.
it's his birthday, and he's like barreling the camera, so he's like staring straight at the camera while he's doing this.
He does have a crooked smile, I will say. The girl from Vengeance,
he
she's
does.
right. He's got that crooked smile.
Oh, I like that in a man. Tina. Okay.
There's a dance
Smash
scene,
cut
and I put
to-
Bro 1 and Bro 2.
Smash cut to.
That's what I called them.
I got their names though. Their names
It's
are
Bama
Mike
and Mike
Bama.
D'Antonio.
Yeah. So Bama and Mike, they got this old timey talk down because it's 1945, and they
have it down?
They quote. Yeah. Well, he says the word "daddy-o" at one point, so you know it's old timey.
Nick, I will say, I don't know if you
Daddy-o.
wrote it down at one point, but Nick Cage again says, like, you see?
Oh,
like,
God.
in the middle of a sentence?
Well, I think he just likes saying "you see." You see.
I guess.
Okay, so the quote Gone with the Wind, and I said, yeah, now it's a musical because like there's a dance scene, and so basically D'Antonio can dance real good, and this young blonde girl loves him, and it's all about how Bama is basically like introducing D'Antonio to like his hometown, but D'Antonio steals the hearts of all the girls in that hometown, including I'll call her Annie. I don't know what her name was. Something like that.
I'll say this.
Mandy?
So they focus on Bama and Mike D'Antonio, quite a bit to start. And I think they're trying to do like a Pearl Harbor. They're trying to make us like them and show us a little bit of backstory. I did not care. Like once shit happens later on, I didn't care.
Dude,
did you care?
I don't remember anything from Pearl Harbor. That movie sucked too. So Emily was watching this movie with me too. Shout out to my loving, beautiful wife, who, by the way, is at Taylor Swift right now. She's at the Taylor Swift concert. She stays up too late. Got nothing on her brain. That's what people say. Mm-hmm. That's what people say.
Yeah, good for her.
Anyway,
is that all you wanted to talk about with Taylor Swift? You said you wanted to talk about Taylor Swift.
Oh, I just wanted to say, didn't you have tickets to the Reputation tour as well?
Yes, Leah will be going in like September or something.
Ooh, lucky you!
And I bought 2 tickets. I don't know if I'm gonna go. I'm not a concert guy anymore. Like I don't feel like going to a concert, man.
That's one of the best concerts that I've ever been to. Was her
Taylor
last
Swift?
tour? Yeah. It's a fucking amazing show, bro.
It's just like I don't know, man.
Hey,
especially like in a big stadium like that. It's like what? I'll stay home.
What?
Watch some TV.
What? Fuck you.
I'm trying to sell her other tickets. So if anyone else out there wants to go with Leah to Taylor Swift in September, let me know.
If anybody wants to go with Leah to the fucking Taylor Swift Reputation tour, because
Taylor's dad.
I hate that song.
Big reputation. Ooh, you and me.
I like that song.
She got a big reputation. Ooh.
Okay. After the dance scene,
what were we talking about?
There's titties. There's titties.
No, what
Emily
was saying though is that like she's like, this is just like Pearl Harbor, and I was just like, I have no idea. Probably.
When we get to my note, I will let you know what I put about Pearl Harbor.
I had titties.
I was like, no, my note says titties. Where's Nick? Because Nick isn't around. He loves titties.
Oh, Nick does love titties. So they're like this weird like casino, like strip club, yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's kind of weird.
These 2 young seamen are young, dumb, full of cum. They're basically we're treated
there's
to
a
like
black
a series
guy
of
and
like
a white guy.
Yeah, like little vignettes of like each little storyline that they're trying to set up. There's way too much going on.
I don't know any of the names because I wrote down Mike D'Antonio and Bama because I could tell they were going to be important. And then I was just like, I can't keep track of this black guy, of that nerdy guy. I can't keep track of the cook. Oh, Theodore. Yeah. I remember Theodore. But it's like, so now we're switching. So we just got this dance scene with Mike and Bama. Now we're switching to this black guy and this white guy who are boxing for some reason. They want to fight?
Like,
why? I didn't get it.
Somehow, like, the black guys are like cooks on the ship. And one of the black guys is egging the other black guy on and said, hey, you know that cracker, like, said that he would whoop yo ass. And so they meet back in an alley, and they're, like, boxing and fighting.
And Mike, I don't know if this is important, but Mike was going to propose to that girl after only dating her for 3 months.
Or something.
And he lost the ring during the fight, because he, like, jumps in at one point.
Yeah, so they're all
and
fighting
guy
in an alley. And then Mike jumps in, the ring falls out of his pocket. Nerdy guy with glasses picks it up. But the fight gets broken up because fellas, like, we're shipping out tomorrow. We just got word. We're shipping out. Everybody break it up. And I was like, I thought somebody was actually going to get stabbed and die, but they don't.
Because the black guy pulled out a knife.
At one point, like, that poet, like, the writer, black, like, light-skinned black guy, I'm going to call him Cam Newton because he really reminded me of Cam Newton. He's like narrating and like doing.
That's
like
Theodore.
Is that Theodore? Okay, well I call him Cam Newton.
Cool, call him Theodore.
He's doing a voiceover of like narrating like the love triangle.
The girl in the red dress,
and it's I at one point I was just like, what is happening? And Emily's like, mass chaos. Like I have no idea. All right, so whatever. We're shipping out. Let's get to the boat.
Yep. We're on the boat, and Nick is talking to the crew members, and this is what you actually texted me to say for my Did You Know, so why don't you take the reins? This is Nick talking to his crew.
For those of you who are new to the Indianapolis, I am your captain. Without me, you are worthless. You are my crew, and without you, I am worthless. Our success, our very survival, is contingent upon our functioning together as one cohesive unit.
Oh, you really wrote that down. And then he repeats after that because then he goes like, am I understood? And they go, yes, sir. And he goes, am I understood?
Yes, sir.
So he repeated it
Yeah,
again.
so I said yelling and repeating. Got that. Earlier there was a voiceover, just as an FYI.
I paused it after he said, without me, you are worthless. Because
Without
I was
me,
like,
you
I wrote
are
down, I was like,
worthless.
this guy is narcissistic. And then I pressed play again and I was like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
Never mind.
It keeps going.
There's the rest of that.
Well, I had the more you know with the without me you are worthless, and then I was like, oh, that would have been a good the more you know.
So now the two men that were fighting, they are in a cell. And the black guy, I will point
they're
it out,
locked
for
up in the
some
brig.
reason, he's eating a chicken wing. Don't know why, but... Well, I know why, I guess.
Wait, it's because his buddy, the other cook, snuck him a chicken wing, and it's actually...
Why does it have to be chicken?
It's actually a fun... Because they're eating chicken. Don't make it a racist thing, Brian.
I feel like it was a
Don't be Nick
racist thing.
Cage.
I feel like it was a racist thing.
But at one point, the white guy is like, hey, can I get some of that or whatever? And then, I don't know. He, like, makes a threat or what. And basically he says, like, you better not do what I think you're going to do that chicken bone or anything you do that chicken bone, like, I'm going to do to you when I get out of here. And so the black cook that's, like, free, like, looks at him, stares him deep in the eye, and then starts performing fellatio with a chicken bone, like jamming it down his throat, like into his cheek, like he's giving it a blowjob, which was a pretty funny little joke. It pisses the white guy off real bad.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah. All right.
Now, so there is so much.
There's a lot of voiceover from Nick, and that's where I got like that whole thing about like. So basically, they usually get an escort. They're not getting an escort this time. Their guns are useless against submarines. They're friggin' terrified of submarines. But
this is what I was
going to
say.
Submarines.
This movie sets things up so hard. It holds your hand so much. And this is one of the first times we're going to talk about fucking sharks a ton. So get ready for shark talk coming up.
We're scared of torpedoes.
But right here,
we're scared of sharks. We're scared of chitons.
Right here, one of Nick Cage's like co-officers or whatever says like, "Sir, are you concerned about submarines?" And Nick, completely deadpan, just goes like, "Hard to stop what you can't." What does he say there? I can't read my writing. He says, "Hard to stop what you can't see." Yeah.
Yes.
So, very, very deadpan Nick Cage. He's very bored. He is so bored in the castle period, man.
You haven't even said, "I'm wearing my shark shirt just for this movie."
Oh, Jesus, you are wearing your shark. Oh, I should have got my shark socks on. Remember when you bought me shark socks?
I do.
So then, Nick Cage also starts talking about these things called chitons.
Yes.
And,
okay,
chitons
well,
are...
so he has this first officer named Standish, who's like a real fucking uppity, like, first of his class, just poster boy.
Oh, that guy?
Such a dick. Nobody likes
Rafts?
him. Nobody likes him. Yeah, he's just a young prick. And so he comes in and he's like, "Sir, couldn't we just zigzag to, like, get away from the torpedoes?" And that's where Nick says, "Well, we could, except that the Japanese also have chitons." Explain what a chiton is, Brian.
A chiton is basically a kamikaze sub. There's actually a person inside this, like, sub-missile, and they can kind of direct the sub-missile into
torpedo.
the ship.
It's like a manned torpedo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kamikaze torpedo sub. So a man will die when he's manning this.
But he can steer it and course correct, basically, in order to...
So zigzagging doesn't work.
Zigzag as well. Yep.
Yes. And I put a note here that said Chekhov's chiton. So
Chekhov's chiton. Oh,
yep.
Yeah, there you go.
And then we actually jump to the Japanese sub with the chitons.
There happens to just be a submarine sandwich patrolling the Philippine Sea. And it's, loaded down with chitons. And they know how to use them.
First of all, they spot Nick. They spot the ship.
Spot a ship.
And they're like, well, now you just ruined it.
They spot a ship. I didn't ruin shit. They spot a ship.
You're led to infer that they spot Nick's ship.
And they say, okay, load up that chiton. Here's the thing is that, like, the Japanese... I'll call him like the captain, Japanese captain, the Japanese admiral, is like having some real conflicts. Like he hasn't had any confirmed kills. He's getting like haunted by a ghost.
Can we call him the bearded one?
Sure. We'll call him the bearded one. Yeah, because he's got a real patchy beard in this.
Call back to Army of One.
So
but also when he was talking to that guy,
by a ghost who's like telling him basically like, you haven't killed anybody, you're kind of a failure, like, but you got to keep trying or something like that. And so he sees this ship and he's like, okay, I got it. This is my destiny. I got to do this. So he feels really bad a little bit about like loading this guy up into the chitin, but he's like, all right, you said your goodbyes, go for it, do your duty. Fires him off. Meanwhile...
And I have a note that says, that chitin CGI dough.
Yeah.
Because it's not very good.
Meanwhile, cut to Nick, who's like performing, like getting everybody ready. Battle stations, everybody go, get like fire off some rounds, try to like stop it and whatnot. And everybody's like fucking on deck. They're doing their 4-minute drill or whatever.
They're firing missile or like guns and stuff.
Yeah.
And my note here says, wait, how did Nick see the Japanese?
Yeah, maybe they
because
have
I didn't get that because it was
radar.
wasn't it nighttime?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't nighttime here, was it?
No, not this time. But
I still
we
didn't
don't really
understand.
know what's going on. Guys, it's a fucking fake out. Nick is just doing a drill, and turns out that the
Japanese
sub blows up a merchant ship. And so he's like, we failed, we missed. And they just blew up a random ship. And so
it was completely irrelevant. It was kind of to psych us out, which is fine, whatever. That happens. Now, so some of the cooks are bringing food to Nick and the co-captains or whatever.
It's Nick is Mick something, McVeigh, something.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. I call him Nick.
Yeah.
As they're bringing they got pie for Nick, and as they're bringing it in, one of the cooks like stops him and goes, "Hey, is that pie for Nick Cage?" And he goes, "Yeah, this one is right here." Lifts up the pie top, spits on it, and then he puts Tabasco sauce.
He spits in Standish's.
Oh,
it's because
in the dickhead.
Yeah, he's like, don't do McVeigh's, like don't do Captain McVeigh's, because people pretty much like him, but they all fucking hate Standish because Standish is such a prick. And Standish is like,
did he put Tabasco in his coffee?
Yeah, I'm gonna whip this like these young men into shape and like kick their ass and turn them into fight machines, kind of thing. Yeah. So he spit in the Standish's pie and then put like Tabasco in his coffee.
And Nick bites his pie, so I thought he had spit in it, so this line was even funnier to me, but I guess he didn't. But he goes, "What do you put in this delicious pie, Theodore?"
And then Standish...
Is spit.
Yeah, and then Standish, like... You see Standish checking his pie, too, and then he, like, drinks his coffee, and Theodore's like, "What's the matter, sir? Too hot?" Like,
Yeah.
Too hot for you? And, yeah. But, like, the thing is, Standish is being a real dick to the guy just because he's black, too. So, like, Standish, I think, even, like, calls him boy or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, there are some racial undertones here because this is when they're first, like, starting to desegregate and stuff.
Yep.
We get some foreshadowing because some guy doesn't know how to swim, and they go
down in the engine room. There's this guy named McHorter, and he's like,
"Oh my god, you have all their names."
Yeah, dude. So McHorter.
I thought you said you didn't. I just put so and so
names, man. McHorter
Why do you care
is
about all
played
the
by
names?
Tom Sizemore, who's like an actor who's in a bunch of war films. You might recognize him. Anyway, so McHorter is down in the engine room, and he's like talking to this like Mexican guy, I think, like Latino guy, and then there's like this guy named Lindy who works down in the shark room room, and anyway, he's telling them all about sharks. He's basically doing a bunch of shark talk. And so they're...
Well, and he said, but here's some of the foreshadowing, because they go like, so-and-so doesn't know how to swim, and if the Japs don't get you, the sharks will.
Yeah.
And now that's where one guy just proceeds to give us a freaking history lesson on sharks, man.
They are worried and very curious about sharks. They can bite through steel, blah, 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 blah. Then, like, it's, again, a bunch of vignettes of, like, all these characters back and forth. Mexican and Lindy Dum Dum are really worried and curious about sharks. They go to, I think... what's his face? Bama, because Bama's like a diver, and they're like, "Hey, like, do we have to worry about sharks?" And they're like, "They won't bother you unless you're bleeding, though, right?" And he goes, "If you're bleeding, it's a problem." Bum, bum,
Yep.
bum.
A lot of shark talk here. So
Anyway,
They drop the bombs off.
First torpedo.
And-
oh yeah, sorry.
They just drop the bombs off, and they still don't get an escort to go back.
No.
Nick asks for one, and the guy who like took the bombs goes, Charlie, how can you have an escort? You were never here. And right after he says that, the camera pans away to a shark mouth. Like there's a shark skeleton mouth like
Oh
hanging.
yeah. That like frames Nick and the like guy
Yep.
like within it, and yeah, it's like
Brock, do you think there's gonna be sharks in this movie? This is Pay the
That's
Ghost
not even
too, man.
fucking foreshadowing. That's like six shadowing there.
Yeah, it is. That's what I was saying. Like I wrote it down every single time. It's just
Yeah.
like Jesus Christ, shark.
I get it. I think there's gonna be some
All right.
sharks and some torpedoes in this movie. I'm not sure, but could be.
It lets us know that when they leave the Philippines, there are 1,197 men aboard. Okay.
Round up to 1,200.
Yeah, 1,200 men.
Yeah.
And then my note just says, "Oh my God, more fucking shark talk. We get it."
Yeah.
Because that must be where they
that's
talk
where
about
they
the
say,
blood
like,
to
if you're
Bama.
bleeding, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so much shark talk.
Jump ahead. First torpedo hits at 0 dark 14. Which
I will say, I have a note that says, "Dat CGI fog dough."
Yeah. So, okay, that's right. So they're leaving, and then they hit a fog bank, and Nick says, hey, stop zigzagging. Let's just fucking full speed ahead through this fog. Once we get out, we'll keep zigzagging or whatever. And so they're like, yep, sounds good to us. Well, the friggin' sub is patrolling the sea, and it pops up, and they're, like, right in front of them. So the sub's like, fuck the chitons. They're right there. Just fire some normal little torpedoes. First torpedo hits at 0 dark 14, and they fire, like, 6 of them.
I don't understand how zigzagging works. Like, how much can this big-ass ship actually zigzag? Why can't missiles still hit it? I don't know.
I mean, if they're at like a huge range, like which they were for that merchant ship, they were at a huge range. It was like 8,000 meters or whatever, and now they're at like 1,500.
Yeah, so the Japanese are right on them. I almost call them the Japs because that's what they keep calling them in the movie. And I kept writing down Japanese. I was like, I'm not calling them that. I was like, I'm writing down Japanese the whole time, but just in the movie they kept saying the Japs, and it's just. Anyway, but yeah, they were like, they're right there. So yeah, really close. They shoot them. And right as they shoot, I put a note here that you see a shot of Deuce's bloody hand. Is that his name? Mike.
What?
Mike's bloody hand? Does Mike's hand? Whose hand gets bloody? Like basically now we start to see blood.
It's
because they
one
kept
of the
talking
guys
about
who's
blood.
working in the engine room. He's like twisting like a wrench, and it like cuts him. He cuts his hand.
And I just put, in case you forgot about the blood, because now they're just concentrating on the blood so much because of the sharks, you guys. Guys, sharks like blood. Did you know that? And there are sharks in the ocean, and they're in the ocean, and there could be sharks in there, and now they're all bloody? What's going to happen, guys?
Another, the more you know that I had written down is, if you're bleeding, it's a problem. But it wasn't delivered by Nick. Nick gives a lot of long-winded speeches, so I figured I might as well pull one from his speech. But if you're bleeding, it's a problem. Which goes for you too, ladies. Just kidding. I'm kidding. We're very period positive on this podcast.
Oh, we're period positive now?
You gotta pop
Dog
those
friendly,
peas.
period positive. Chaos ensues. That's what my note says here. I don't know how much we're going to be able to get into some of this stuff, but basically, like,
I don't
they're trying
care
to radio
about most of it, except for the dudes that get literally lit on fire.
The one guy's arm, he's just like, waves around, like, oh!
It's crazy. The dude's arm just is like molten fire.
I had to rewind it because I was like, wait, what's going on? Because he seemed like he was having too much fun
Flame on, dude. Yeah.
I want to make one point. They do try to radio to a base like in the Philippines or something, but there's like a commanding officer or something there that tells because the dispatcher said like, hey, I just sent 3 tugboats out there. Like I just got 3 calls from one of them said the Indianapolis.
Identified
and the CO
himself as the captain.
Yep. And he goes, what are you doing? Send them back. Whose command did you do that under? Because that could be the enemy trying to trick us.
Yeah, it could be the Japanese
so now
trying
the
to lay a
tugboats come
trap.
back. Yes.
Here's the thing. Did you get the sense that CO was really just saying like, nope, they're fucked. They knew the mission. I have my orders.
Absolutely.
And I have to make this go down because they were never really here, so I need to cover this up.
Absolutely. That's exactly
Right?
what was happening.
Okay. I don't know if you caught it or not.
Now, Was it the last podcast that we were talking about how funny Nick looks when he runs? No, that was Pay the Ghost.
That was Pay the Ghost.
There is one shot as the boat is like sinking. So we're getting a real Titanic moment here, guys.
Oh, yeah.
The boat, there's water rushing in.
Okay.
The boat is like lifting
the jail
up. It'll
guys
even break
are
eventually.
both in jail, and the other black.
I was just gonna say right before that, as the boat is like tilting up, Nick kind of runs up it and meets someone kind of halfway up the deck or whatever, and is like, okay, tell everyone we got to aboard.
Yeah.
And then,
Everybody
like, right after he
over.
says that, he tries running up it again, and he just looks really funny. He can't run very well anymore, you guys, and especially not on the angle.
Nah.
That's all I wanted to say.
So, jail guys are both in jail, and other black cook comes in, and he gets the door open, and water's rushing in, so it's about, like, to their waist or whatever. Or no, actually, it's just, like, to their ankles at this point. Other black cook comes in, and he opens up the cell door for the black guy, and then the white guy who's in the cell is like yelling, let me out too, because they're the only two in the jail, but they're in separate cells, and so Cook gets nervous and drops the keys, and they're like, I'm sorry, nope, and they like both rush out. It's real hectic, tense scene or whatever. They go out in the hallway, water starts like rushing in, so now it's like up to their waist. White guy's like yelling, like, hey, come on, somebody's got to help, like, let me out of here, please, like, I'm gonna die, let me out. Black guy goes back. Other black prisoner guy, jail guy, goes back, finds the keys, opens up the thing, and then the ship just happens to lurch at that exact moment, so then he swings in with the door, and the door locks both of them in there. So, basically, It's like, heroic moment, but now they're both effed. Except we get a real Titanic-ass moment. This whole thing is like Titanic stock footage. People are falling down the deck.
That's
now
what I'm saying.
The boat is tipped up, like straight up and down in the air.
And they're holding on while it's at a 90-degree angle.
It happens to split down the middle.
Brock, I want to point out right after that the cell scene, we get our first shark. It's a little guy.
Yeah.
They kind of give us a shot of a little shark out there, so you're like, uh-oh.
As
and this is
people
one
are like
thing the
kind of falling off
IMDb
into the water, you get like a little shark.
This is the IMDb had a problem with this. They said sharks are very nervous creatures, and if there was all that commotion going on, especially with the electricity, there would not be sharks in the water by the ship. So
with all
take
of, like,
it for what
huge,
it is.
Like, motors whirring. So ship tips up straight up and down in the air, and then it splits. Well,
And Nick,
how fortuitous that it splits right at the jail cell. And so somehow it breaks open, and these guys squirt out scot-free. They're fine, I guess. I don't know. There was a lot happening. There was a lot of like cuts and stuff. But both of the guys that were in jail are fine. So fuck you.
As
movie.
the ship is like getting ready to fully submerge, Nick is just yelling, go, jump, like trying to get everyone off.
Yeah.
However, then an explosion from behind him chucks him
doorway.
into the ocean. Yep, from a doorway. He falls into the water, and a shark swims up, a full-grown shark this time, comes up and like nudges his shoulder,
like bumps him in the head.
but kind of swims off and doesn't touch him.
Yeah.
So now all the men are kind of trying to... Yeah, now all the men are trying to group together, and there are so many sharks in the water, you guys.
There's so much Lady Moan music going on here, too. It's like... It's not quite Titanic. It's not quite My Heart Will Go On, but, like, you can pretty much, like, put My Heart Will Go On underneath this and get the sense of what's happening here. So, Nick finds a tiny little raft.
Here's my did you know? Well, not yet, but it's coming up.
A tiny little raft. And, of course,
It's
he
so
climbs
tiny,
into
you
it.
guys.
And one thing that Nick likes to say in a lot of his movies... Hello? Hello? Can anyone
hear me?
But, like, he loves to say hello. He loves to say hello or hey or hello. If you remember Eddie King during, not Deadfall, but the second one, that was
Arsenal.
his Arsenal. That was his dying word was hello or hey. Like...
I laughed when he got in this raft. I was just like, what is a raft like that even doing on this ship?
These
like,
rafts
it's so
are like
tiny.
woefully. Come on, Navy, do better.
They are
dude.
very, very
I know
bad.
it was
like,
old.
I feel like the sharks could still get in there.
But the rafts. So let's mention these aren't like big inflatable rafts. These are like styrofoam.
They're like styrofoam,
like outlines, like styrofoam frames with like nets in them. And maybe that was standard Navy, like SOP for the Navy back
for the
in
40s.
1945. But fuck that, because that shit does not work. Clearly.
As Nick yells, "Hello, can anyone hear me?" the Japanese guy in the sub actually does hear him.
Yes. The Japanese guy's like listening, and he's just like, "Oh, okay."
He knows that they're out there.
I literally
guy.
have. Can anyone hear me? And then my next note says, "Japanese can."
Japanese man hears him. A shark eats a guy. So, and then a little thing pops up that says, "Day 1, 902 men remaining. Supplies 2 days worth." And I just thought remaining seems like a very unusual choice of words there. 902 men remaining? Like, how about 902 men alive? Like, don't they're worth more than just remaining.
Don't count your chickens, or in this case, your survivors.
And I also put, where the fuck are the supplies? Because all we see are these styrofoam rafts. I didn't see any
Those
supplies.
Those big barrels, and I'm guessing the barrels maybe had supplies in them.
I guess.
Maybe. Maybe. Anyway, okay.
The sharks.
Shark gets a guy. Shark gets another guy. Sharks are just kind of like picking them off one by one.
And this is where I put my note of, this just went from Pearl Harbor to Sharknado real fast.
Yeah.
Because,
the sharks
I'll talk about the sharks in a
both
second.
Aggressive and lazy. They're both like real fast and real slow, and they're both like underwater and above water, and they jump and sometimes they don't, or sometimes like you're just chilling and they tug you. They can get you anyway. Any way you want to get eaten by a shark, you got it in this movie. Yeah.
Yes. And so basically the men have been divided into groups. There's like a group A, a group B, and then there's a bunch of stranglers. And group B is
Not
1 mile away.
Stragglers.
Stranglers. Stranglers?
Stranglers.
Oh my.
But
no, there's no stranglers running around. Sorry, that's my allergies.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff up nose, making me say ends
God,
when I don't want to.
Where the Philippines say strangler. Okay.
Group B is 1 mile away from Group A. And this is where that fucker, what's his name?
McWhorter was the best.
No. The shithead.
Oh, Standish.
Yeah, because now he's like in a raft
More
by
like
himself.
Sinish, am I right?
Yeah, and he
asshole.
goes, "This raft is for injured people and officers only. Like, you can move. Get the fuck out of that raft." Like, he's being a real dickhead.
The thing is, though, nobody even wants to go into the same raft as Standish.
No one's in his raft. He has this huge raft and no one cares. No one's in it.
Even though, like, being just swimming and like treading water, it increases your chances tenfold of getting picked off by a shark. Nobody wants to get in the same raft as Standish. And for good reasons. Fucker has a gun, and he's firing it at people.
Yep. When people wouldn't get out, when the able-bodied people wouldn't get out, he fired his gun in the air. Nick is south of both groups, and he finds a bigger raft with 2 men on it, and the one man holds up the lower half of his leg.
So McWhorter, the like engineer, like the engine room captain or whatever, yeah, like comes in, holds up his fucking leg from the knee down in his hand, and is just like, "Ain't this a hell of a damn note?" I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. And he's like, "Hey, do you have any meds?" Just happens to have like a med bag sitting on that raft. And asks for some morphine, which Nick obliges. He injects some morphine into him. So a plane flies overhead, and this is where we get treated to like Thomas Jane. So Thomas Jane is another actor of like some sort of note. He played like the Punisher in some one of the Punisher movies. Anyway,
they're looking for a downed plane.
They're looking for a plane. So they're only looking for
Not
like
a ship.
A plane with like 9 guys. So they didn't see this boat, and they didn't send any boats. So this plane has no idea that like these guys are out there. But they do fly overhead, and they're all flagging it down. Anyway, plane keeps going.
We get a lot more shark action. I will point out at one point that there's a guy kind of out by himself, and a bunch of sharks start roaming around him, and he just prays them away.
Yeah,
he starts praying to God, and they just go away.
They have a chaplain at one point, and they throw him like a birthday party while they're still on the ship or some nonsense like that, or because it's his last tour, and you know if it's his last tour, that it's just like when it's the cops' like last day or last like it's his last mission or it's his last case or like it's his last day before
always a big
retirement, some shit's gonna go down and he's gonna die. So nope. He's all by himself and sharks are circling and he says like, please God save me, and God obliges. God saves him.
God obliges.
So
Theodore finds Nick.
They're getting picked off one by one, and Cam Newton swims to the captain.
Theodore
Just swims off in a random direction and eventually makes
after
it
the
to
sharks
the captain.
started attacking everyone. So the sharks started attacking Group A, and Theodore for some reason just runs off or swims off by himself. But he does run into Nick, and when he gets there, he tells Nick, like, yeah, I just came from that way. So Nick pulls his compass out and decides on his tiny-ass raft with a paddle that can't be more than 1.5 feet long. Nick starts, paddling this little tiny raft. Yeah, he says, I'll go find him.
Does.
On this little raft. He does.
We don't have to hold anyone in suspense. He fucking does. He finds them, and he comes back with them. Meanwhile, McWhorter...
He finds men and supplies.
McWhorter is, like... just losing his goddamn mind because he still has his leg, which I don't even know why he still has his leg. You could toss that.
Get rid of that fucking leg, man.
Like, it's not going back on, man. Like, that leg's gone. So he still has his leg. He's like freaking out. He still needs like a steady supply of morphine in order to calm down. But this is where I actually realized that, like, what was his name? Cam Newton? Theodore is like, he was the guy that was narrating the whole love triangle. I didn't pick up on that until just now.
No, Brock, there was too many people. I didn't know who anyone was besides the two bros.
Because then he starts reading a book about a girl in a red dress, and I was like, oh, this is that guy. And he starts reading his, like,
and he's also the cook.
And they even said something, too, about, like, hey, if you write about me in your book, like, your story or whatever, put that in your book. And I was like, oh, this guy's writing a book. That's why he narrates out loud. And he starts reading to McWhorter about, like, what his book is all about. And McWhorter actually has, like, some funny lines, too, because he's like, you're going to have to read a hell of a lot better than that to, like, get me interested in this story and whatnot. To which Emily said, read to me like one of your French girls. And I was like, that's a good
nice.
One. Good one, Em.
Now there's like a shot of a storm brewing, though. So I was getting ready. I was like, oh, God, this is going to be...
storms. The perfect storm?
Yeah, the perfect storm or whatever. But there's no storm that ever comes. Why is there a shot of a storm?
Overnight a little bit. Like,
I
but
guess,
it's not like huge
it was
waves
totally meaningless. It was like one shot of lightning, and I was like, oh, shit, now they're going to get big waves and stuff? Nope, doesn't.
Anyway, we also learned don't drink
Nick
the seawater. It'll make you crazy. So...
Yes, because now Nick Cage has a big monologue. He talks about don't drinking he says it's been 2 days, don't drink the seawater, make you crazy. Oh. And then he pulls out a can of Spam. This is like one of the lines I wrote down, like one of the only ones. So he pulls out Spam and he goes, Spam, house specialty. And like passes around a can of Spam to everyone.
Yeah. Dude pukes overboard and a shark fucking just like... Sharknado style, chomps him and like just grabs him from beneath the water.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
Yep.
He was
This is Piranha 3D. This is Sharknado shit,
he was
man.
chumming. Anyway.
Now there's a little pop-up that says Day 3, 500 men left, supplies diminished. So they're dropping like flies.
Here's where we learn from Nick that I couldn't use my Annapolis ring as a fishing lure because we need it for good luck, but I could use my wedding ring because my wife would understand. You see, she likes to fish. Might even like it more than I do.
Yep.
I guess. I don't think they catch any fish.
They didn't use it at all. We cut back to Group A with shithead, dickhead guy.
Well, as Nick is like calming everybody down, McWhorter sees a fucking angel, I guess. Starts seeing angels and freaks the fuck out. Like, we're having a nice calm little moment, and McWhorter just like screams out of nowhere. It's like, get away! The angels! And then like just a couple seconds later, like next scene, and he dies. Sorry, I don't know what happens in between then, but my next note is that he dies. Nick cries over McWhorter dying.
Yeah, he's going crazy too. So, and he's probably very sad that his partner or
his friend,
one of his men died.
And so then the Japanese captain is conflicted about like hearing all these guys dying, and the fact that they have not had any rescue boats like come help them out yet.
But the whole point was for him. So I didn't. This is based on a true story, and when we get to the end, it's very interesting what happens with this Japanese man. But this was his job, so he's just having a moment of remorse. I guess he's a man because they're people.
Well, and
that's why I could never be in the army. I can't imagine shooting someone just because they're our enemy. Like that person still has a family. Like, I couldn't do it.
And so the whole thing with that too is that like. Really, I think they were hanging around because they were waiting for more ships to come so that they could sink more ships. But then get an order that says, like, hey, you guys go, return back to base. Like, you've waited long enough. They don't have any help coming. Just go back to base.
Shithead, dickhead captain, whatever his dumbass name is, in Group A... says he sees an island 4 miles away, and he takes 4 men to paddle him away. And he just sits in the middle of the raft while these 4 men paddle. He's like, come on, paddle. I know you're tired, but paddle. It's like, fuck you. You get out there and help, man. Yeah. But there's no island. He's, hallucinating or something. Those men come back at one point. 3 of them die, and, one guy comes back to the chaplain. And, there's a little bit of a power struggle between the chaplain and Standish. And the one guy comes back to the chaplain and is like, hey, I'm sorry. I left or whatever, and Chaplin's like, nah, it's cool. Anyway, Bama confesses to Mike, his best friend, they're in a raft together, that he loves Clara this whole time. Who would have thought? I think you got there. Oh, no, that's right, isn't it?
So Bama grew up with this Clara, this blonde girl in the red dress, who is set to marry Mike if he would have actually proposed to her, but he lost his ring. But Bama tells Mike, no, guess what, dude? Guess what is obvious to everybody but you? I actually love Clara. Spoiler, I grew up with her, and I've loved her ever since we were little children.
This is the storyline of Pearl Harbor.
Sure.
When, who's in that movie again?
Ben Affleck and...
Ben Affleck and Justin Hartnett.
Cheese McGee. Yeah.
When Justin Hartnett is dying, he literally says to Ben Affleck, almost verbatim, these lines, you gotta take care of my girl, and blah, blah, blah. It's almost exactly the same. But Mike dies,
Everyone's bonding.
Mike dies.
Mike gets his leg chopped by a shark.
And Mike died because a shark, bit his leg off.
But then, it doesn't bite it off even, just bites his leg, but then he must bleed out or something. And so, anyway, everyone's bonding. The black guy is bonding with the black prisoner is bonding with the white prisoner in a raft together as well, because they made it out, and they both have had hard lives. They're both from the mean streets. One's from the mean streets of Detroit. One's from the mean streets of Birmingham or something like that.
Right at this moment, I have a note that says, the sharks don't look half bad. Literally, Brock, as I wrote this down, I don't remember what the shot was, but I'm going to find it and post it to Instagram. Because there's the shittiest shot of a shark I've ever seen at 1 hour, 23 minutes in. And so my note says, the sharks don't look half bad. And then ... And then we get that shot. Because there's one shot where it's just so bad. The CGI in this movie is so bad. But when they're swimming and stuff, they don't look that bad, I don't think. I don't know.
So day 4. 350 men left. And there's another plane flying overhead, and it's looking for some shit, and it sees them. It sees a bunch of dudes, and it's
it sees them because it saw the oil from the ship.
Correct. It saw the oil from their ships, spilling it all out, and it doesn't know what that oil is from at first, but then it circles and it sees all the men, and so then
what was it doing? It had a bomb or something? Because it was going to drop something, and then the guy's like, wait, stop, there's men down there.
It was a submarine. That's right.
Oh, it thought
it thought that the oil was from the submarine.
Oh. Yeah, because they were going to drop a bomb on these people, but then someone's like, stop, and then they pull the bomb back up because they realize it's a bunch of Americans.
He couldn't, get, his sight or whatever, so then he went to the window. That's right. And then he finally saw the men, and was like, oh, yeah, shit, no, don't do it. Anyway, okay, so... Then he somehow radios the other plane that had flown over before, that same captain, Thomas Jane, and was like, hey, turns out there's dudes out here. And so Thomas is like, shit, we never saw him before because we were looking for a plane. Anyway, that plane
Which seems
makes
weird.
a water landing because like it's equipped for water landing. So it makes a water landing even though against orders, and it just like goes out there and it's like, fuck
Yes.
it, we're going to rescue these
Against
guys.
the orders of that same guy
Yeah.
who said to bring the tugboats back. This same dickhead says like, no, you can't land in case that the sub is still out there. And it's just like, what the dude? Like, you gotta take some chances, man. But this guy, yeah, you're right. He's playing some sort of game to try to protect himself.
He's
being a
basically
dick.
like, no, these guys are done, and like the less people that know about it, the better. Really.
Yes, exactly. The pilot doesn't care though. Pilot's like, well, fuck you.
Because even like the
they're my men.
dispatcher
Like, I'm gonna
is
save
like
them.
giving him some fucking eyes that are like, dude, this isn't okay. Like this isn't
right?
This isn't good. Anyway, okay. So here we get Nick Cage, who's like just basically rocking back and forth on the raft, sitting up. Like everybody's like just passed out, like in their rafts. Most people have died.
Like,
I guess
you would
the
be,
chaplain actually died from exhaustion while saving the rest of the men. But Nick Cage is just like, thank you for landing. I'm okay. Get my men out of the water.
Okay, he does not sound like that. You're no.
It's
He doesn't sound like
that's how I
that
have it
happy
written
about
down.
it. He's exhausted. Thank you for landing. Like he's exhausted. He's not. Thank you for landing.
Thank you
Like, no.
for landing.
I will say this landed plane is
Get my man out of the
Yeah.
water. Hey, hey, get my man. I'm okay.
this plane that has landed perfectly still. I don't know if you caught that. It is not rocking with the waves or anything. Perfectly still, clearly shot in like a soundstage or whatever. That bothered me.
It's a good plane.
And I do have a note here that says like, wait, what happened to that storm from earlier? Because there was no storm. They tell us that 79 men died, 317 survived, and now there's like 2 people like at the White House talking or something, like in D.C.
Yeah.
And they say
They're
that like the
they're
press
a
and the
war
people
council kind of
want
thing.
to blame someone, and a guy kind of ominously is just like, well, then we'll give them someone to blame.
Well, yeah, they want to bear this story, and then they're like, well, if we can't, though, we need like a scapegoat. We want someone's head on a platter, and then we'll.
I didn't know who they were going to go after.
Give
I was like,
them
well,
someone.
yeah, I didn't know what they were going to do. I was like, who are they going to blame? Because I don't know. Cuts to 1 month later, the war is over. Nick is sleeping by his wife and his phone rings. He does have a flashback to the ocean, and someone says on the phone, like, I hope you burn in hell.
Yeah, but so first of all, did you say that he had a nightmare?
Not
Well, so
really.
there is
He
a
was-
plane.
yeah,
there
the
is an
flashback to the
article.
ocean was
so
a
all the men
nightmare.
get back. They get to a hospital eventually in the Philippines, but then they eventually get back to the States. And there is a article, a tiny little article, kind of in a plane that shows that it's like or in a newspaper, that shows that it's the bottom of the page, and it says like, hey, this ship that delivered the bomb that like nuked Hiroshima, sunk, and I think that article said that all the men died, like that there were like 1,200 casualties. So I think that this article did get written, but it said like everybody died. So anyway, yeah, Nick has a nightmare that like McWhorter is basically like in the water, and when Nick goes to save him, like McWhorter drags him under. He wakes up to a phone call, and the guy, is like, you deserve to burn in hell for what you did to our boys. Anyway,
Yes.
He's with his wife. His wife is super younger and way out of his league.
Yes.
And Brian Bama, his name was Brian, by the way. Brian Bama. He proposes to Clara and tells her that he's always loved her. And she says, well, yeah, but I was going to marry Mike. Here's where we find out that the reason Mike was going to propose is because Clara's pregnant with his baby. And that's why her dad was like really pissed at Mike the whole time, I guess. Which was, again, not a storyline that we needed, but we got.
Dude, by the way, did we mention this movie is 2 hours, 10 minutes long?
Yeah. And Bama says
this is Pearl
there's
Harbor.
a lot of
Pearl
storylines that
Harbor
we need
length.
to like interweave. Anyway, Bama says, like, well, that kid's going to need a daddy, and I made a promise to, like, a dying man on a raft. So, marry me. And she's like, yeah,
sure.
guess.
Yeah, I've known you a while. Why not?
Yeah.
Nick, the next day, someone comes to Nick's house. He comes down the stairs wearing an awesome brown sweater.
Yeah.
This has got vertical stripes on it.
Yeah.
Looks real hot. He is told he's going to trial.
Because I was warm.
You got your shirt opened up. He's told he's going to trial because the guy says something like it was a secret mission. We were not supposed to talk about the arrivals. Therefore, we weren't supposed to talk about the non-arrivals as well. Kind of a dick move.
There's a couple questions that come up during this trial. So, yeah, this movie is has a couple parts, right? So it has like the pre-boat, the on the boat, the in the water, and then the trial. So
before the trial,
I thought the movie was over.
Same,
it's not, guys.
Before the trial, at that same meeting where he's like, it was a secret mission or whatever, that guy also told Nick Cage, like, oh, I should tell you, there was another ship that sank in those waters 4 days earlier.
So you were supposed to have an escort.
Oh, is that why?
That's what he says.
That's why. I didn't understand why he was saying that.
That ship got sunk. It was supposed to be at that base. You were supposed to have an escort on the way back. But that ship got sunk, and nobody knows about it because everybody on that ship died.
Oh, I didn't get that. Okay. And Nick, like, does a weird hand wiggle almost type thing. Like, he brings his hand into the frame.
Yeah, I didn't write it down.
Because it's a shot of their heads only, and, like, Nick kind of brings his hand up towards his eyes and, like, starts crying and does kind of a weird hand motion. I don't know if it's a hand wiggle, but it's a hand motion.
He's expressive with his hands.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we're at the trial.
So, trial, a couple questions come up. Question number 1. What is your position on zigzagging? Question number 2. How did you personally abandon ship? So
he's being tried for those two things, for failing to zigzag as an evasive maneuver and failing to abandon ship in a timely manner.
So, anyway, long story short, long court trial short, I guess, they basically, like, then they bring in him, they bring in another guy, and then they bring in,
Bama.
Sorry, they bring in Bama, and then they bring in Colonel, or Admiral, or whoever, Hashimoto, the Japanese captain.
Yeah.
Who, since
That's
the war
where I was
is
just
over,
like, what?
the war is over, so, like, he doesn't have any, like, war crimes against him or whatever. He's just, like, a guy, I guess.
And this happened in real life, remember. This is real.
So they bring him in to testify.
That's crazy.
And they basically say to him, like, well, so Nick says basically didn't want to zigzag because they could have used chitons. And they asked the general, like, well, did you use chitons? He goes, no, we didn't have to. We were too close. And so I have in my notes, like, we were, how you say, nuts to butts. Like, they were...
So racist.
That's not racist. Basically, like, yeah, they were too close.
But they said
they did not have to use chitons because...
Earlier in the film, they said something about being, like, 4,000 meters away from that merchant ship.
8,000,
So we knew, okay, like, that's... What's that?
I think they were, like, 8,000 meters away.
Okay, whatever. It was like 4,000 or 8,000. Either way... They were only 1,500 meters away from Nick's ship, so they were, like, right on top of it. In terms of submarine talk...
Nuts to butts.
Yes. So they ask him, like, well, okay, so you shot missiles. Do you think if Nick Cage would have used the zigzag technique, would it have helped? And he goes, no. We were too close. Like, we shot 6 missiles at him. He could not have escaped. And the reason he fired torpedoes or missiles is because he felt really bad killing a guy, his own man, for a merchant ship, so he didn't want to waste any more of his own men, so he shot torpedoes.
You didn't waste your own guy. He's like, we fired 6 torpedoes. One of them was going to hit. Like, we're pretty good at our jobs, despite all...
Right after that...
You know, notions otherwise.
The judge says that Nick is found not guilty for timely evacuation. But because he didn't say anything about zigzagging, it means that he's found guilty of not zigzagging.
I mean, motherfucker didn't zigzag in the fog.
So now outside the courthouse, Nick Cage and the Japanese guy start talking and not confront each other. They're talking nicely.
They
have respect for each other.
They stand like when I say like confront each other, I just mean like they stand like face to face and they have like a stare cry down.
And they both basically, they start talking a little bit, but basically the gist of it is that both of them say, while they did do their duty to their countries, as a man, they both have regrets.
Yeah.
Like, the Japanese man regrets killing all his people on the ship. Nick Cage regrets sending 2 of the most devastating bombs in human history and killing all those people in Japan.
Yeah.
So they cry, they salute, there is respect there.
Okay. How did that scene, like, hit you? Emily started crying.
Are you serious?
Emily started crying.
Also, there was a time in the courtroom. This is what pissed me off about the courtroom. We skipped over a lot of the courtroom, but there's a point where Nick Cage is on the stand and he starts apparently saying something emotional because there's flashbacks, whatever. Yeah. Like, we don't hear him talking, there's flashbacks. But when it comes back to the courtroom, everyone's crying. And I was like, wait, what did he say? Yeah. Like, what did he say that made everyone cry? I want to hear what he said.
Recapped the story of what happened. Well, and there was a whole thing of like, Brock, how did you personally evacuate the abandon the ship? Like,
and there's flashbacks.
It was blown off the ship. Like,
right, and there were flashbacks. But I would have liked to hear the story, so I could have cried along with the audience, even though I wouldn't have. No, Japanese guy and Nick Cage talking didn't affect me at all.
I thought it was a good performance. I really liked the Japanese guy. I actually thought the Japanese guy gave the best performance of the entire film. He was. I will agree with that. But yeah, no, it was just like a stare cry down. We'll get into it a little later. How about that? But, okay, so then Nick tells us via voiceover that his wife, like, died shortly after, and then he says...
Oh, see, I didn't understand if she died or she left
said, like, I don't know, she didn't make it too much longer or something like that. And then...
And people keep harassing him.
And the phone never stopped ringing. And then we see him walk into, like, his office where the phone is, like, ringing, I think. Picks up a gun, spins it, like loads it, puts it to his head, and kills himself.
Yep, he dies.
So Nick Cage dies before this movie is over.
Again, remember this is based on true story.
So we're not going to make light of it. As light of it as we would for any other character that he plays. But he does die before this movie is done.
And now...
Not of old age.
No, and now the real people who, like the survivors, they kind of cut to them during the credits here, and they're it's kind of, this part's really intense actually. They're talking about like...
Well, one thing that I did
they're talking about...
They're showing like old pictures and old footage of all the old sailors. All white. There's not a dark face to be found.
If you read the IMDb trivia, it says that the segregation was still in effect until like 1947. So when this was going on, it doesn't make sense that the African Americans would be on the guns or like interacting with the white people like this.
Just the cooks.
No, but when they were doing their training, like there were black people shooting the guns. But either way, like the trivia says, like no, the black people shouldn't have been like that close to the white people, whatever. But so the survivors are talking.
Mario Van Peebles. So why I brought him up is because he is going to like have inclusion riders that say like a certain percentage of the cast has to be like segregated, and he's gonna want to tell those sort of stories and be like inclusive of the cast of all races and stuff. So.
During the credits, while these survivors are talking, they're old now, whatever, but they're talking about like how there were 120 to 150 sharks circling around them at any time, and the one guy says like you could hit them in the eye and that really hurt them. You'd see them go down like 50 feet, just kind of shaking their heads. That's freaking crazy.
Yeah, sharks really don't like getting
They're punching them in the eyes. And the one guy just goes like, "It was the scariest moment of my life."
Anytime a shark came around, I just kind of turtle up. And like take my feet up out of the water.
And they're all
like,
they're all just like, no, I hated it. Like I hate sharks now still.
Yeah, and one guy, the footage guy, tells you that I don't think I'll ever like sharks. I don't think I like them. Well, fair enough. I think I'll give you a pass. You don't have to like sharks, man. Not everybody has to like sharks.
We're to our tropes. I feel like we gotta tighten up our tropes list again because a lot of them aren't happening anymore. I took off... which one did I take off? Oh, emasculating someone? Yeah. He's not really emasculating anymore.
He's
what was the one right around that one, too? Abuse of women and children is still on there sometimes.
Yes,
that's the other one. Yep. Yep.
It came up early though.
I took one.
Like, it came up a lot early, but yeah, he's.
I want to keep taco meat, raw dogs, fuck you on there, even though none of those happened in this one. No. We did get flashbacks, mumbling, repeating. I want to keep maniacal laughing, especially for the next film. Abuse of women and children keeps happening, but not in this one. Hi F and Ya, obviously we're keeping that on here, but it didn't happen in this one.
I wanted a Hi F and Ya shark.
Yeah, right?
Sharks were Hi F and
we
Ya
did get it. We did get a hand wiggle, and he did die, and I'm sure you want to give a special shout-out to another one.
No? One? To Flash...
Aviators, baby!
Aviators, flashbacks, and my three were Aviators, flashbacks, and an oldie but a goodie, the voiceover. The old voiceover.
You didn't get mumbling, repeating, or the hand wiggle?
I got him.
The hand wiggle's questionable.
I just wanted a special shout-out, so...
Pete Cage. How many Pete Cages do you have? I came so unprepared on this one, man.
Two.
I didn't write any down again. I got one though. My favorite moment. I'll give my one again because you have two of them. My favorite moment is when he talks about the spam.
Oh, yeah.
I just think his voice is kind of funny when he says like spam.
Yeah, go for it.
House specialty.
It's been 2 days at sea and no sign of rescue. I fear I have let the men down. I try to find little things to give them hope. But even that is in short supply.
House specialty.
House
That's
specialty. Mine. Well, then mine.
Is that one of your two or no?
Certainly the thank you for landing. I'm okay.
I like that.
Get my men out of the water.
It's our skipper. Thank you for landing.
Got room for a few more.
I'm okay. Get my men out of the water.
I cannot wait to put that clip in here so that everyone hears how off you are. Like, your accent work was on point when we first started this podcast. Yeah. You've gotten away from it too much. It's more of like a cartoony version now.
Moment that I should use the Eddie King voice, and I don't think I read it like initially. It was like, I couldn't use my Annapolis ring as a fishing lure because we needed it for good luck, but I could use my wedding ring because my wife would understand. You see, she likes to fish. Might even like it more than I do.
No. See, now you changed to like a
weird Keanu. I can't.
Yes, Keanu.
I can't nail it.
Because I was thinking of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure,
which we have like. There's news that that's actually coming back. They're doing a Bill and Ted 3.
Are you serious?
Get hype.
Brock, was he a good actor?
There's also Nick Cage news. Nick Cage says, according to some sources, that he is only doing 3 to 4 more movies in his career before he hangs it up and calls it quits.
Oh, good. That's perfect for our podcast.
Maybe
he's got all his bills paid off.
Or maybe he's going to pop one pill too many.
Pete Cage. Or no, not Pete Cage. Was he a good actor?
Okay. So Emily was really trying to make an argument for that last scene where he's having his cry stare off with the Japanese general. I liked the Japanese general. I did not buy it from Nick. I'm sorry, Em. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you. I did not buy it from Nick. I didn't buy what he was selling.
Here's where I stand. This movie sucked. The CGI was terrible. The movie lasted way too long. Like, we didn't get enough of good stuff. They tried to do too many storylines at once.
They did our third best. What do you mean it sucked?
I'm giving it a 4 on IMDb. Like, it's not a good movie. Brock, these last 10 movies were so bad.
But it was long.
Yeah. I think Nick Cage sucked prior to going in the water. There wasn't enough emotion.
I think he sucked while he was in the water too.
So bored. I thought he was better in the water because Brocky, like, again, they're going crazy on the water. Like, they go crazy. The sun's beating down them all day. They don't get to eat or drink. They're bleeding out. There's sharks everywhere.
No.
Like that, your Pete Cage moment. I feel like it's
Thank you
believable.
for-
Like, he would be that worn out and just be like, yes, like, get my men first. Like, don't worry about me. And I felt like he was better in the second half.
This movie had a lot of guys that he had to go up against for acting. And I feel like some of them did not do... You know who did a really shitty job? Was fucking Nerd. The nerd guy. Who, by the way, we forgot to tell you, turns out that he had stolen the ring the whole time, and the whole storyline was that Mike, the New York guy, was like trying to find his ring, and Nerd guy confesses to Bama like, hey, I had the ring the whole time. After they get like saved and go back to the like hospital, I think. Anyway.
Since Nick Cage was good for like a half of it, I'm going to say
yeah.
I'm going to give him a
sucks.
yes.
No.
I'm giving Nick Cage a yes. What?
I'll punch you.
He was
Punch you
decent
the
in
eye
this
like
movie,
a shark
man.
And watch you thrash around.
I don't think I can say he was
Not
good.
enough.
He was fine
Not
again.
good enough.
That's the thing. Like, I don't want to feel so biased, and I want to give him his thumbs up and just be like, okay, see, we're not biased. Like, yeah, I'm giving him another thumbs up, but it's just another one where he's fine because he sucks so bad for a lot of it. But like I said, I think in the water he was fine. But then when
he wasn't good,
has to be normal on land,
he didn't like make you think like, oh, thank God he was in this movie because like anytime he was on screen, this movie was good.
I don't want to seem so biased, man. I don't, but I gotta say no again. He was fine. This is another one. This is like Looking Glass. He was fine. Okay? All right, people?
But obviously not as good as Looking Glass.
Okay, so here, let me ask you this question. In Army of One, if we didn't see what the original guy looked like and sounded like, would we have, like, if this was just a character Nick Cage created, would we have been okay with this acting performance in that one?
Yeah, maybe.
I kind of want to retroactively give him a yes for Army of One.
I'm still gonna say no, but I did enjoy his performance. But I still don't think that he was a good actor. I don't think he was a good actor, given the material.
You know what? I don't think... All right, here's what I'm going to say. I don't think that movie... This movie, USS Indianapolis, was trying to be like very true to the original source, trying to be very accurate, even though it wasn't. I don't think Army of One was trying to be necessarily like, hey, look, we're trying to... It was more satirical. I'm retroactively giving him a yes for Army of One.
Late,
I'm up to 2 now.
This isn't canon.
I can fucking do what I want. It's my podcast too. I'm giving him a yes. So
I think
now
Pay the Ghost is trying to be really true to story. I don't think they nailed it right either.
I'm giving him a yes for Army of One. I am at 2 out of 21. Brock is at 1 out of 21. Remember, he can get 28 wrong or 28 bad movies. Fuck you, Brock.
Fuck you, Brian.
Like, at a certain point, we gotta start, like, we gotta realize, like, we're not just watching...
I
know they're all
my
shitty
fucking
movies, but
standards, Brian, and I will stick to them, you son of a bitch. You can't fucking make me
One, he was a good actor.
for USS Indianapolis.
No, he's, like, fine in this one. Army of One, giving him a thumbs up. I'm at 2 out of 21.
Bring me a better movie, and I'll give you a better score.
Hey, Brock,
Bring
you
me
want
a better
movie?
performance.
How about this?
Ooh.
How's Ghost Rider rated a 5.2? Because that's our next movie. I don't know. I don't know how much in depth we have to tell you about Ghost Rider. It's Ghost Rider, people. More piss and
OG
flames.
Ghost Rider. We're gonna learn what caused that UTI to cause him to piss flames. We're finally gonna learn the origin story of how he became the writer of Ghost.
I'm excited for this one, man. I'm excited getting all the castle period again.
In a while. To be fair.
I'm gonna be the most excited for the one where he turns into a vampire. Vampire's Kiss.
I'm a vampire.
Guys, we are still on Twitter at WeGaugeCagePod. We are on Instagram, WeGaugeCage.
Sure are.
We are still looking for reviews on the Apple Podcast app. We're still looking for you guys to tell your Southern Hemisphere friends and all of your friends.
We still want you to wear your shark
shirts. We're stagnant right now, man. We need more listeners. Tell people.
Please.
Tell them to go listen to Rage.
I've actually been telling people to listen to Mom and Dad and our last 2 as like intros. I think those are some of our better
that's
apps.
Fine. Don't tell them to go to our first
ones. The early apps are a little tough.
We didn't know what we were doing.
We know.
We didn't know what we were doing, all right?
Better. We feel like we've gotten a little more comfortable talking to each other. Look, when we first started out, I didn't know this guy sitting across from me. We just met.
You didn't know I liked Airborne. I don't like Airborne.
I didn't know that this dude.
We have Airborne.
Chomping on
See,
Airborne.
the thing is,
I didn't know that he had two
Leah.
puppies. I didn't know that he liked watching perverts get their rocks off behind two-way mirrors. I mean,
Leah.
we're finding things out about each other every day. Ladies and gentlemen.
She's very like superstitious about like vitamins and this Airborne and stuff. And I tell her, I was like, there's actually no proof that vitamin C helps with a cold. Like a cold is a cold. You just have to sniffle through it. And for me, I don't know why.
You just gotta shove those Kleenexes up your nose and deal.
Aspirin and Tylenol and stuff, ibuprofen, does not work for me. When I have a headache and I take ibuprofen or aspirin, does not work. I looked this up on the internet. This is a real thing. There are people out there where the meds do not work.
Fucking there.
Brock,
Mister,
it doesn't.
I looked this up on the internet.
Look it up. Brock,
up.
When I start having...
Okay, thought police, you're trying to control me. You want to find out? Look it up on the internet. Internet will tell you. www.whateveryouwantobelieve.com. It'll tell you.
And I take aspirin or Tylenol. It doesn't work. I have a weird immune system. Brock, did you know all the drugs that we have right now?
You could have cut this fucking 5 minutes ago. Okay, I'm done. We're done.
All the drugs out there
everybody.
aren't going to work on humans again in a long time because our bodies are adapting and it's going to be useless. Are you done? Okay. Well, then good luck with your balls.